Villainous beats, villainous beats, villainous beats.
In the sky, it's a bird, it's a plane. Flying high, I emerge through the flames. Have no fear, I'm here, so stand back. Melanin activate, the name is super black. In the sky, it's a bird, it's a plane. Flying high, I emerge through the flames. Have no fear, I'm here, so stand back. Melanin activate, the name is super black. Imagine that, a future that's super black. Long as your skin brown, your superpowers intact. What would your powers be? Just hope it ain't super whack. Spatial manipulation, create a portal that's black. Maybe just super speed, time travel to run it back. Or cheat manipulation to keep my spirit intact. As I encounter evils the world face, demons the world makes, I'm needed the world at stake. Rest in peace to Chadwick, they killed all the Black Panthers. Told us white lies, I still marvel at black answers. Suits in DC, pray it lead to a civil war. It ain't no Justice League, what's the need to be civil looking out, it's clear, ain't no stopping this. The world in grave danger, who can stop the apocalypse? They killed all the heroes, the new ones don't really care. But if you need me, put your fist up in the air. Yeah, in the sky, it's a bird, it's a plane. Flying high, I emerge through the flames. Have no fear, I'm here, so stand back. Melanin activate, the name is super black. In the sky, it's a bird, it's a plane. Flying high, I emerge through the flames. Have no fear, I'm here, so stand back. Melanin activate, the name is super black.
Hello, everybody. It's Tuesday, and as you know, we celebrate Black History Month all year round, and this year is 366 because it's a leap year. I'm your man on the wall, Chris Fury. Thank you for tuning in. If this is your first time here, show your love by subscribing on the YouTube channel and hitting that notification bell. Show your love also by showing support on Always Press Record, where you can also find us and watch us past episodes, and you can also listen to us wherever you listen to your podcasts, including iHeartRadio, Apple, Spotify, and the Beyond Air Network. So, without further ado, Spartan, are the engines primed? They are. All right. Second in command, Lady Mandalorian is in the building, looking fresh as always. How are you?
Thank you.
All right, all right. Our Griot of Horror is back.
Unmute yourself, baby girl. Unmute yourself, baby girl. I love you, miss you, honey pie.
Yo,
So,
like I
it's
said,
good
yeah,
to
I
have
had
you.
y'all
It's
in the
good to have
background a lot of times.
I'm glad to have her back. She was like, "If you'll have me
Glad to
back,"
be
I said,
back.
"If you don't get your butt on this ship."
Why are you being funny?
Listen, I don't assume nothing. I don't take nothing for granted. Y'all already know that.
So, we've got the Games Master, Navy
Hey,
Montel, in the building.
what's going on, y'all?
What's
So,
happening? What we got
Navy.
today? What we
What's
got
going
today?
on? Good to see you back, baby, because you already know you were here, even though you weren't here, but you was here. Don't even twist it. I can't. My hair will never be like Lady Mandalore, so I'm gonna try my best.
Listen,
Since we celebrating
that
Black,
twist out is beautiful.
right? Since we're celebrating Black history, we have to start with the future generations. This is my daughter, Angel. This was her first cosplay at 4 years old.
Oh wow.
Oh, she's official. She's official then. She's official.
She's an official.
Yeah.
So I had
That's
to
what's
say,
up.
I wanted to show something of legacy, but let's go.
We got legacy going on in the building,
right? The crew is back.
Safari TV.
What up, man?
Hey.
What up, man?
TT.
We got Spartan in here.
Look,
Sparto.
What up, dude?
You said the engines was good, right?
they working.
All right,
Are
everything's
they
running.
singing Rocky sucks? Are they screaming Rocky sucks?
I feel like I have a cigar in my mouth, like the carburetor should be working. Like it's gonna work. I can't tell you how far you're gonna get, but you're gonna get there.
I hope everyone likes the new look for the ship. That is the official ship for Blerd's Eye View. So there it is, ready to launch. Wait a minute. Next.
Yo, here we go. Here we go. Lord have mercy.
Sorry, I blew out eardrums. I'm so sorry.
It's about to go sideways, ladies and gentlemen.
That was a nice intro, Chris.
Well, you know, we have to have. Nix is you know, as everyone knows, Nix, who runs Do You Speak Geek, he's also not just friend of the show, he's family here. So he's like the cousin. He's like, "Oh, y'all made ribs? I'm coming over." So
He's the cousin you take out for a walk in between sets of plates of food.
Exactly.
What's happening, brother?
Good. I miss y'all so much, man. It's been a long time since we hung out here, man. I miss y'all.
Same, brother.
Spoken like true
Same.
family.
Just
Like
5 more months.
Glad to have you back.
So we're not gonna have this cut too short because we have somebody special in the house. I was introduced to him through Mad TV, Pulp Fiction, and then Static Shock, then Samurai Jack, and then Foster's Imaginary Home for Kids.
Yes.
and
Yes.
and Green John Stewart, Green Lantern, and is and Supergirl. He was actually on Supergirl, and it keeps going. It's growing, you know.
It's
So
never
if
ending,
if Cree Summer is the pirate queen, I think he can be the king for the Blerd community. No other than Phil LaMarr. What's going on, Phil?
Hey, sir. Sir.
How y'all doing?
I hope
All
that was a
right.
good enough intro for you.
Woo!
I got my seatbelt on. That's all I gotta say, because I'm ready to bounce up around my apartment. I don't know about you.
All right, real quick, Captain, if I can interject real quick.
Go ahead.
Okay, Mr. LaMarr, first off, you are a gentleman and a scholar. Thank you for the time you gave me at Dragon Con. Jeff, if you're watching, thank you for putting up with all my emails. I told you before I had a crew who was dying to meet you. This is they. However, as you can hear, my dad has his own internet show that I don't know how to do to keep himself entertained during COVID. So I had my time. I got my turn. I just wanted to formally introduce you. I will be participating for the rest of the show from the comments. So you crazy kids all have fun. I'll see you.
You tell DJ
right,
Chill
you should be
see you, man.
down back there.
You should be it.
You tell voice of the people. Phil, our first time meeting was actually in March 2020 at Wizard World Cleveland. You were my first celebrity interview, and it was actually the weekend the world decided to shut down.
Right.
Oh, wow.
That was the last con before COVID.
Yes,
Yeah.
and you, the person I was with at the two people I was with at the time, they were like, "Are you going to talk to him?" I'm saying, "Yes, I fought all of this to get here." And once I got to that hurdle, everything else was smooth sailing. So obviously you've been working quite a bit.
Yeah.
I have to ask you, your time during that blur of two plus years maybe of COVID, how did you cope? Was that something you can transition to easily doing voice work? How did that work out for you?
Well, no, we got really lucky, those of us in the animation world, because it took them about a month to realize you can create a cartoon virtually. You know, all the animators had to, you know, take all their data and take their computers home, and they went home and did their work, and then they realized, oh, the voice actors can do their work from home too. And I mean, it was, I was lucky because I already had a booth here in my house. Because when my son got big, we wanted to move him from the little kid room to the big room. It used to be my office. So I'm like, all right, I'll go ahead. I don't want to stand in the way of your puberty. So I went and built a booth. And good enough, when COVID hit, I'm like, yeah, I can record from home. Whereas, you know, tons of my other friends were like, oh, dang it, I got to sit in my closet and sweat. I had one friend, a classic, legendary voice actor. She's on the phone. It's like, oh dang it, I gotta go buy a laptop. Like,
Ma'am?
how you been doing your auditions? I just get on my phone inside the car.
There we go. You just split on yourself. Hostile
Right.
takeovers and lack of equipment. There we go, folks.
Sometimes you got thuggy. Sometimes you got thuggy. I get it.
Well,
Shout out to Stefan Johnson, who's a local Cleveland legend here with the food reviews. He's done the same thing. So he's wrapped towels with in the hotel room. He's done it in the car. He even told me, he was like, you can literally do it in the car. And I'm like, you're right. It's soundproofed. You're right.
I mean, the truth of the matter is, though, it would have been traumatic for us had this hit 10 years prior.
oh yeah.
Because back in the old days, when I first started my cartoon career, everything was a group record. You know, you would be in there performing scenes together with the other actors. And it was, you got to share energy and you got to see people be amazed. I mean, I remember first episode of Futurama, I'm sitting there 6 feet away watching Billy West do the voices of 3 different characters talking to each other.
That was
Wow.
And I knew if I wasn't in that booth with him, I wouldn't have known that was the same one person doing 3 people. And it was amazing because I'm like,
Crazy.
oh damn. This is like playing a pickup game with Michael Jordan. It sets your bar real high.
Yeah.
So,
Oh my goodness.
you mentioned the group reads, and Tafari even says it himself. The group read, most legendary roles for at least for the generation that's here amongst us, Justice League and Justice League Unlimited. It was the first time we were able to actually see Jon Stewart front and center and voiced by none other than you. And when you mention group reads, I can't help but to think about the group that's involved.
Stop
with
that. Stop that.
Oh yeah.
Stop that.
What is and once again, you know, Kevin Conroy, rest in peace. He was an absolute icon for Batman. It's probably next to Michael Keaton, one true Batman.
Oh yeah,
that again.
You know, it's funny you say that because several years back, I was at a convention. I met a Spanish dude who was the dubber of all the Batman movies in Spain. You know, so he was the voice of Batman.
No way.
But he told me he didn't just do the cartoons; he did the live action movies too.
Oh.
So in Spain, everything that had Batman in it, he sounded the same.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, damn.
That's a job.
We should be doing that in the U.S. If Kevin Conroy's voice come out of Ben Affleck's mouth, he gonna win an Oscar.
And we got in the audience, we have BZ the Voice, who's also a voice actor. He's actually a voice actor and actor. He's actually has a couple of shorts playing Jon Stewart, Green Lantern live action shorts, and Brightest Day and Blackest Night, and it's all on his day off and stuff. And great stuff. Now I want to see the both of y'all on screen.
That would be dope.
That would be dope.
It would. Yes, it would.
Yes. Well, see, I'm glad he's doing that, because to me, that shows the reason this show exists, because their Blerds exist. When I was a kid, you could be black or a nerd. Couldn't be both.
Sir, you're still a kid. What are you talking about? You are still a kid, sir.
You said the bones say otherwise, but
I'm a kid with a bunch of flour on my hair.
All of my flowers on my face. So trust me, I'd rather be in your position, okay?
Lady Mandalore?
Back in the old days, none of my cousins from LA or St. Louis or Kansas City would be like me, sitting in the corner reading comic books or Sherlock Holmes books or sci-fi novels. They're like, Bill, what you doing? But nowadays, all this fringy nerd stuff has become mainstream. And I think Justice League, in some ways, didn't just do it, but it was a part of that. Because there's so many people who come up to me and say, that was the first time I ever heard of a thing called a Green Lantern. And because back then there were so many more kids watching a Saturday morning cartoon than going to a comic book shop, especially both genders. In the old days, if you saw a woman in a comic book shop, everybody was like, what is she doing here? Oh, she must come and buy something for her boyfriend.
She paying off the tab.
Do that.
Paying off the tab.
Paying off tab.
Honey, are you lost?
Lady Mandalore?
Phil, first and foremost, you are a voice family member in my head. Kriya is my voice acting mom. You are my voice acting dad. Unequivocal, like whichever. I want to. Oh God, this is left field. I'm so sorry. I'm starting to stutter
breathe.
because I'm very nervous and I
Breathe.
like to mutter when I do that.
Inhale,
Inhale, exhale.
breathe.
No one.
Give me you shot.
don't
Girl.
forget
Give me
to
you shot. You
exhale.
got
Get
it.
your breath. She's my second in command, so she's like my
I
weapon.
got it.
lady.
Damn, y'all.
She got it.
Breathe. No.
She
Come on,
shouldn't
Chris.
be this nervous.
Tell her she's got the con.
Give her the chair.
I want to know two things. First of all, if somebody named Jimmy Gunn decided to call you up, where would you like to be placed in his gun verse of DC? That's number one. And number two is where do you go to find these voices that you make? Because you do not sound, Bail Organa does not sound the same as oh Lord Jesus,
The green one.
Yeah.
She forgot to breathe. Oh my God! Here we go again.
The breathing part's important.
Like, how do you get to those voices? Like, is there somebody else that's helping you shape them? Is it just you and you just got it like that because you fly? Or is it something else that I can't think of?
Well, I'll answer your second question first. It's a collaboration between the actor and the material creator. They have a concept. They have an idea. And actually, the way you get hired is you come up with a voice that embodies their concept, their idea. It's like, oh man, that sounds like what I felt in my head. And then you get hired. But it's always working together. I mean, you said that one sound different from the other one. They're different characters.
Fair.
When Laurence Olivier played Hamlet, he didn't play it the same way he played King Lear. Although it's funny because we think of movie stars as you just come out and do your thing, and that's what they hire you for. It's like Denzel, play this cop the way you play that doctor. They want him to do the same thing. Well, that same thing made $250 million. Don't do something different. But no, as an actor, it's always about bringing that character to life. And with voice acting, they come up with different sounds. Somebody older, somebody, a little more arrogant, somebody from a different place. All those things you put together, and then, whatever the creator, producer, writer, whoever it is, agrees with. Because sometimes you'll read something and then you'll do, I think he would sound like this. It's like, well, thanks, Phil. That's okay, but we need him to sound more powerful. You mean more powerful? You mean more powerful, and then you make an adjustment.
Okay.
Navy, what you got?
Well, sir, as Lady Mandalore said, it is an honor indeed. You, my friend, have influenced a generation and another generation and another generation and probably some other generations. But I digress. And you have been a figurehead for me to become a voice actor. So thank you so much from the bottom of my heart, my friend. Thank you so much for that. So the question that I have, I've been wanting to ask you this for a long time. Out of all of the characters you have portrayed, whether it's by voice or by acting, which one did you feel embodied you the most? The one that you connected with the most, so that almost as if they live inside your head for most of the time. I'm curious.
Actually, I would have to say the only character I played that, had elements that I felt, were parallel to me personally was probably Virgil Hawkins in Static Shock. Because he was a teenage boy, living with his family, going to school. He was, smart in his, schoolwork. And I'm like, okay, if I had gotten electric powers when I was 14, I might have acted like this. But, most of the characters, there's nothing. It was like, nah, in the year 3000, I would not be an accountant.
No.
Bars.
Oh my goodness.
Griot of Horror, Laney. What you got?
I first just thank you for coming on. Like, I enjoy your work.
Thank you.
I am a big fan of like Mad TV. So I think my question
Big fan of what you say?
Mad TV.
Ah,
Mad TV.
Okay.
Mad TV. Yes.
Yeah, listen, I mean,
that's the least blurty thing I've done.
I still love that, and I love the UPS fan, and that was like how I felt like as a kid. Actually, I saw
Oh my gosh, I forgot about that
sometimes
character.
I would just go back and forth and stuff. So that's just me. But anyway,
Doc, the UPS guy.
No, seriously, I had the energy, and I feel like my daughter embodies that even more so. But I digress. Going back to thinking about that, and merging voice acting, do you ever think that you could see yourself creating or help to create something like that as an animation, like something like Mad TV as an animation?
Well, I mean, I didn't create Mad TV. I just got the job because I had been doing sketch comedy and improv at a theater company here in LA called the Groundlings Theater, where, you know, some really huge, you know, legendary people had come through and taught the way of going from making up improv comedy to writing characters. You know, that's where you got Pee Wee Herman, Elvira, you know, and then later, you know, you got so many other people, you know, all those SNL people, other than just the first one, Lorraine Newman.
Right.
And so to go from the Groundlings to a sketch show on late night TV made sense back, you know, because I'd seen, you know, a bunch of people. Actually, I'd seen Lorraine and Phil Hartman, you know, great people do it. And then behind me, a ton of other people did it. Will Ferrell, Chris Kattan, and Sherry O'Terry, you know. But as far as the animation, I didn't see a connection. You know, that just happened. Although I think because Mad TV was based on the magazine, they did have animation on the show. And they had us voice the claymation characters. And that got me, you know, my mic time. So
Claymation.
I never forgot about the claymation ones.
Yeah.
And
so that was really helpful.
Light bulb.
Y'all were Robot Chicken before Robot Chicken. I forgot all about that.
Yeah.
They were chicken robots. Gotcha. They were chicken robots.
And over the years, I found out that, you know, sketch comedy skills help in animation. Because I don't know if y'all know about this, but the animation business thing is they pay you union scale, and for one voice, 2 voices, and then they can pay you 10% more for a 3rd voice. So that means they need people who can do multiple voices. Because if you can't, you're going to cost them 3 times as much money. So what me and Orlando and Deborah Wilson did on Mad TV is you do one character, finish the sketch, go run, change your wig, then come out there and be a whole different person. And with animation, it's the same thing. Only you only got to change your clothes.
If you don't want to.
But
this man got put out of his office,
now
okay?
you're
So we have to feel bad for him. Come on now. Come on.
Oh my God. So Spartan, what do you got?
Sir, I can't even say Mr. Sir, I would bow if I wasn't already in a chair because
Here he goes.
your you got too many doggone credits, so I'm just gonna start from this. From Mad TV, from Samurai Jack, from Justice League, more recently Moriarty, The Silent Order, and The Devil's Game, which I heavily enjoy. So thank you for that, for giving a different take on Sherlock Holmes. That's one of my favorite literary characters. To your daughter's work on The Bridge, which I love seeing foundations like that actually help as far as youth, as far as getting the Blerd community out there. The one question I did want to ask, though, because you've had so many roles, so many things that you've touched, was there ever one that you sat there and was like, how did I get that role? Like you went in, you did it, but weren't sure that you did it, but somehow you landed into it.
You know, it's funny, Black Spartan. That's a thought that you, as a professional actor, almost never have. I mean, if you were driving to work every morning, that would be like thinking, "What? Why is there traffic?" Because
I still ask that question. I was just
yeah, but you ain't trying to figure it out because you ain't got no control, and it just happened. And the thing is, when you, as an actor, it's funny because, people outside show business industry don't understand. Remember I was starting out, had a little aunt from across the country. It's like, Phil, why don't you get one of them Eddie Murphy movies like him? Like, I can't choose that. Actors don't choose. We get chosen. And we can't control that. So, how you got a job, you almost never know. Every once in a while, somebody might say, "Oh, Phil, you did that thing, and it really made me." Later on, at a later session, a producer might mention something in particular that clicked for them or was different, but usually they don't.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm like, a guy of your caliber. That's the reason why I'm asking, just because you have. Like for me, probably for a lot of us here that saw you as one of the original cast members on Mad TV, and the range of impressions that you had. I mean, if you really think about everybody that you've done impressions on, Bobby Brown, Ray Charles, Spike Lee, Bill Mayer, Eddie Murphy, Sidney Powell, Sidney Poitier, Colin Powell. I can keep going down the list. But the fact of that range, and like you talked about, is just that, like you said, you had to have that range in order to really be as available to get those roles. And I'm thinking to myself, what is it that you really can't do at this point?
Well, it's funny you mentioned that, because there was one time where I wound up doing an impression, not because it was something that I came up to them and said, "Oh, I do that great." We were going to do a When Harry Met Sally parody with a whale. And they went through the cast. They're like, and they realized that both of the white dudes who did impressions were too busy. It's like, oh, we don't have time to shoot them. Hey, Phil, you think could you do Billy Crystal? And of course, in the back of my head, it's like, well, Billy did Sammy. I'm pretty sure I could do Billy.
Yo,
I ain't gonna get canceled for my white face.
Ladies and gentlemen, Bazooka has been fired. Bazooka has been fired.
Hey, when it comes to this show, expect the unexpected.
Happy Black History Month.
Our cousin Nix, talk to the legend for me.
Oh man, first and foremost, it's a complete honor and privilege to meet you. I wasn't even supposed to be here tonight, but then I found out Chris had Phil LaMarr on, so I'm like, okay, tell him I said hello. So he said, tell him yourself. So cool.
And that's how it starts.
Here I am. I actually have two. One's the question I have myself, and the second one is a request. Actually, the first one should be a request first. I just would like for you to say hello to this young Blerd that you have inspired so much. This is my son back here.
Hey there.
Hey.
Don't get shy now. Don't get shy now in front of the kids.
Welcome to Blerd World.
Yeah, he's he's a big fan of yours. He's been watching Static, and I'm getting acclimated to all the classics that you've done. So he's definitely a big fan for sure.
Great.
All right, you go.
By the way, Donald, you're doing a great job with the 29 Days of Black cosplay. So,
So my own question was, you've done a lot of incredible voiceover work. You've done things that are going to stand the test of time for ages and ages to come. Is there any sort of IP right now that hasn't been adapted to animation that you would love to get a specific character and voice them? Like who do you want to sink your teeth into?
I don't know. I mean, that's not really the way I look at things. You know, if I'm reading a book, and then I enjoy it, I just enjoy the book. I don't think about, oh wait, who should direct the movie and what part would I play? You know, I don't. That's, you know, I'm just a fan. You know, I don't.
He's
I don't
an
think
army.
about. Yeah. Well, it's funny you mentioned that, because I grew up reading a lot of Sherlock Holmes. You know, had a complete collection, but never, even as I began life as an actor, never thought about, you know, the iconic characters that I grew up with. And hey, Kaleidoscope, you know, and I never thought, let me play these things that I grew up with. You know, although it's funny because one of the most iconic characters for me growing up in animation was Bugs Bunny. And
I mean, listen,
there
we
was a
can get
period
iconic.
back a few years ago where Warner Brothers was going out saying, hey, we're going to hire somebody to, you know, do the Looney Tunes characters. And when I got the, you know, they sent us a disc of the Mel Blanc doing the voices, and I said, no, I can't audition. Because every time I did it, I heard a little bit of my voice in it. And it wasn't Mel Blanc's voice. So I'm like, that ain't Bugs Bunny. So I was too much a fan to take over something, you know? And, you know, sadly, having lost Kevin Conroy, I don't know that I could, you know, I mean, back when he was doing it, there was no way, if there was ever an audition for Batman, it's like, no.
For what?
Right.
There's nobody else who should do this. But
I will
now
not touch this.
I think if I audition for a Batman part, I'm gonna have that same problem I had with Mel Blanc. I'm like, if I don't hear Kevin's voice coming out of my throat, it ain't right.
Cinematic Assassin. What you got?
Okay. First and foremost, thank you for being here. This is extremely surreal for me, I'm sure, as for the rest of my colleagues here. Secondly, apologies for being late, everyone. I have a 7-year-old that needed homework help. I refuse to shortchange her ever.
Was it that new math? Was it that new math?
Listen, don't talk about that new math. Okay, do not talk about that new math.
Schoolhouse Rock cannot help this generation right now, y'all. Schoolhouse Rock cannot
Apple
help them.
plus metal equals 5,
They
baby.
really can't. They really
I
cannot.
got a backhand for whoever created Common Core. But listen, I'm probably like maybe the big cinephile of the group, and the poster behind you immediately trashed whatever I was going to ask. Like,
That's where I was at.
Pulp Fiction. Based off of your last answer as far as how you view your projects, I just sort of want to ask, in the midst of a project such as Pulp Fiction, are you actively aware, like, this is something magical, we're putting together something, this could be iconic, this could be amazing, this could stand the test of time? Or are you not, are you just going to work and doing your best every day? Like, do you have a sense of, I'm making something iconic?
No, because something iconic has to do with success, and you can't guess that. You know what the quality is. And that's what Pulp Fiction was like. I mean, it was, to this day, 25 years later, one of the best sets I have been on in my entire Hollywood career. And I believe that the reason of that was because that script was so damn good that every single person on that set wanted to be there. You know, it was like, I mean, one, that's how Quentin Tarantino was able to get so many iconic stars, at that time. And this was only his second picture. Reservoir Dogs wasn't nominated for nothing. It did good, but it wasn't a blockbuster.
Right.
And now he was able to get all of these names and, marquee names for a budget of $8 million only.
What?
I mean,
Wow.
at least most of these people got paid more than that just by themselves.
Right.
Yep.
But my theory is they read that script and like, woo! Yeah, I'll take the pay cut for this. This is great.
Yeah.
On that in that process, we knew we were making something fantastic. We were making something great. But you never know what that's going to lead up to. Although in this case, it did get to Oscar nominations and and it made money. It's funny because I remember joking around on the set one day. It's like, well, guys, I mean, they got all these big stars. I guess they could try to sell this like a big summer blockbuster. Well, at least right up until, the heroin overdose and the anal rape. Then, the movie came out.
Yeah.
Cut to, it made $100 million. I'm like, oh, damn. I guess this is why I ain't never going to run a studio.
Oh, man.
I was going to say, as an aspiring screenwriter, you've now given me a new benchmark in life. Like, write something so great, everyone wants to show up to work. Everyone's excited to be there. So,
no matter how bad the wigs are.
And Will,
I'll never tell Samuel Jackson that he can't pull off a wig. I'll never say it. Oh my God. We're gonna take a quick break. We'll be right back with Phil LaMarr. You guys know how we do over there. Blerd's Eye View is a proud affiliate of Otaku Noir. Use the code Blerd's Eye View for 10% off on all items. With a different nerd-themed box filled with items made by talented Blerds across the country, you surely will not be disappointed. Go to otakunoir.com. Otaku Noir, the #1 Blerd mystery box company.
This just in.
Feeling groggy in the morning? Coffee just can't give you that pep in the step that you're looking for? Try Pop Starts for that great get up and go that adults need. Pop Starts has the vitamin and nutrients that only grown-ups can partake in, and with flavors such as tossed salad and scrambled eggs, and Jack Daniels and Bud Light flavors to start your day or end it. There's nothing better to wake up to unless you count that depressing cubicle job. Well, anyway, try Pop Starts today. Pop Starts is not part of the Kellogg's Corporation. Pop Starts could give you diarrhea. Pop Starts are not found in your local grocery store. right, we are back. Not with me, of course. We're back with
Get out of the way.
Phil LaMarr.
Doggone it. Get out of the way.
It's hard to do it when everything's going and you can't see where everything's landing. So I want to show you something, and I want to get your take on it. What does it mean? What does it mean when you see this picture?
Trouble.
I call that picture the top of the mountain.
Comedy World.
Our Mount Rushmore. Let's go. Our Mount Rushmore.
Well, when you get to share a space and time and perform with legendary, incredible performers like Cree Summer and Gary Anthony Williams, that's luck. That's good luck.
And as Cree Summer says, 3 the hard way. That's a lot of trouble going on. Good trouble is good trouble, but it's trouble nonetheless.
Yeah, I mean, Cree is so incredible. I mean, for somebody, I mean, back in the days when she was doing it, almost nobody did so much great work on camera and on mic. I mean, they're two different skill sets.
Yeah.
Not everybody can do both. I remember, when we did Justice League, they would do a lot of stunt casting, and they would bring on really, high status on camera actors. And sometimes you go, oh, dang. Did that dude forget his glasses? He ain't reading well. He blew me away when I was in the movie theater, but now they're going to have to re-record that with somebody else later. But Cree, as a child, was doing voice acting, then became an on-camera TV star, and continued her voice stardom. So that's incredible.
I find it endearing because Navy mentioned it earlier that himself, myself, and Lady Mandalore, we're all entering the voice acting field, and you and Cree are the staple, like you're the igniter for us doing so.
Foundation.
Yes, indeed.
Seeing you do these great works, and not only that, I always think about Pulp Fiction when it's Marvin and he's in the room with Mace Windu, and this is a problem. This is a problem. How is it knowing, like you mentioned Pulp Fiction earlier, and speaking, being in a room with people who are already set in stone in massive roles, right? And you were just sitting there. What does that do for you? You're just like, am I in the right place, or did the launch pad just...
No, brother, being on set with Samuel L. Jackson is such a pleasure. It feels like you getting paid to take a master class.
I'll take it.
Because watching him do, I mean, because off set, we just sit there talk. He's talking about golfing or his daughter. He's just a nice dude. Then walk on set, Quentin says action, and that nice dude I was just talking to is gone. And there's some big scary motherfucker standing here in front of me now. He completely transformed. Like I was looking into somebody else's eyes. From 5 feet away. It's like he's not the same person he was.
Who was I talking to?
Right. But that's how good he is.
We were just talking about Danish a second ago, man. You trying to kill him.
Did it with no medication, y'all. No medication at all.
He's like, did I tell you to think about it? That sandwich?
But you bought the sandwich. I didn't ask you all that.
Well, it's funny because Quentin and I were talking about the backstory that's never mentioned, but the idea was that Sam's character Julia figured out that he knew somebody who knew one of the kids in this group who had taken the thing. So so basically, the idea is that him and Marvin had some sort of connection. Like maybe he, dated my aunt or something. We don't know, but the idea was that that's why he was taking him with him. That's why they were. It's like, no, he's our guy. We're taking him with him. So, and then he got killed.
Yeah, then he got
That was not supposed to happen. That
right
was
in the middle
what the
of
fuck you do, man?
just the conversation that was always the fun. That was always the trippy part, that you didn't see it coming during the entire conversation, and he pulls Marvin into. He pulls your
you're
character
supposed to
into
be a
it.
hitman. You should know how this works.
Right. Yeah. No. I mean, honestly, that was almost like Quentin had written a sketch parody of Reservoir Dogs. Yeah, this is like them babbling about, the virgin, but like, well, what if when they're rambling about something, a gun goes off? Wouldn't that be funny? So, yeah. In his second movie, he parodied his first one.
Wow. So I remember seeing a video of you and Gary Anthony Williams, and you were talking about the black version. And then
I love
it. It's at the grounds. And
That was
I love this
incredible,
concept. I absolutely love this concept. But for people who don't know what the black version is, now if you're in the black community, the Blerd community, you know what the black version is. But for those who just might not know,
it's in Haley.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's go.
Give us a movie title and we'll give you the black version.
Speaking of this is giving Reservoir Dogs right here.
Right?
Talk to the people. Let the people know, what is the black version.
Yeah, just for anybody who doesn't know, it's an improv comedy show that we created 13 years ago at the Groundlings Theater in LA. It's an all-black cast of improvisers. We take a suggestion from the audience of a classic or iconic Hollywood movie, and then we improv the black version of that. Like one time they yelled out Jaws, and we improved a movie called Catfish. When they yelled out Silence of the Lambs, we did a movie called Why You Eating People?
That's fair.
I ain't saying Blerd's Eye View should do this. Maybe Blerd's Eye View should do this. I'm just saying.
That would be.
Are you telling us?
We've been tickling the underside of that for a minute.
For quite a while, yeah.
You
already know if we do that, that's probably a 3-hour show.
The stove is on simmer anyway. The stove is
That's
on
for the
simmer.
off season.
Well, I mean,
there are things called conventions that you guys can do this. I'm just saying.
Oh yeah. We're talking about that. Cedric Yarbrough and Gary Anthony Williams and I were talking about maybe we should take the black version to conventions because there's Blerd cons.
Yeah,
need to do that.
That would
back in the old days, no San Diego Comic-Con would have taken the all black. But the thing is, since we started, 13 years ago, now things have gotten better. So there's much more welcoming of diversity. It's funny because we've progressed in a way that embodies to me the motto of the Dwayne McDuffie Award.
God rest his soul.
Named after my old friend Dwayne McDuffie. And every year I host the awards in his honor, in his legacy about, we give an award to creators who, doing diversity in the comic book world. And we give them one of these.
That's awesome.
And it's funny because on the back of them, it says what Dwayne used to say. It's like the path is from invisible to inevitable.
I like that.
And that's where we're trying to go.
Damn, that's simple.
Wow.
I'm gonna get one.
You and me both.
Right.
I just
Yes.
love that logo.
I'm gonna get one. Damn it!
Yes.
How much is it?
How much is it?
No, but
Just write your comic or draw it.
Nah, but to see the black version at Blerd at Black Cons, that I'm sorry, you would have people
Take all my
die.
dollars. Take all
Bring
my
it to
money.
BlerdCon. Bring it to BlerdCon. Oh my God.
You would have to put that in a theater. You couldn't have that in
Right.
a con because that would be
Yeah.
sold out and people would be
Laney, shut up.
excited
Go
to
ahead.
get
Banging
in.
at the door. Hey, run! Hey!
No.
Well,
Think about it from this perspective.
yeah.
Have BlerdCon rent out the theater. Y'all be making the bucks. Stop that. That's not me trying to take away from BlerdCon. That's me helping BlerdCon.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, it could be a show alongside the con. The way they do, the way Rob Paulson does an Animaniacs song thing. And I think some of the dudes, Michael Rosenbaum and Tom Welling from Smallville, do some sort of thing in town
Great
where
show,
they
by
do
the
a
way.
con.
Great show, by the way.
And but the interesting thing about it, Lainey, is in the old days, if we tried to do, black version in a nerd world, like okay, they'll just say Superman, Batman, But nowadays, there's black movies that are nerdy.
The way
The
he
blackening.
when he mentioned
The blackening,
the
yeah.
blackening is a perfect one. When he mentioned Jaws, first thing I thought of was like, yeah, we don't go out that far in the water. We don't.
I was like, Jaws.
I was gonna say
At the bottom, I'm not getting in it.
the title.
I can see you screaming, Jaws. Yeah, I'm not getting my hair wet.
Mama, I thought you fried that catfish. I did, baby, but it's still trying to eat people.
We're horrible.
Wow.
Yeah.
Get the
But
bottle of Red Hot.
basically anything back in the old days, anything, iconic, was white.
Yeah.
Mhm.
True.
Yeah.
They didn't have no woman king back then,
Yeah.
and but nowadays it's a different world, and that's a good thing. But we still got to only take the white movie suggestions. Yo, brother,
It's got
brother, there's already a black version of New Jack City.
It's always that one moment you see 3 black people in the movie. It's like, oh, 2 of y'all about to go.
The numbers are way off. Right
And you're
now.
being nice. It's sometimes all three.
Wow.
Let it be a horror film.
I mean, it's like Deep Blue Sea with Samuel Jackson and LL Cool J. I'm like, all right, somebody got
One of y'all got to go.
That's a fact.
I wasn't expecting the Sam speech and then getting squashed by the shark, but okay.
Oh, that was crazy.
You have been involved, right? You've been involved with so many nerd-centered projects. Static Shock, Justice League and Justice League Unlimited. Being on the set of Supergirl, and I'm just like, he's kind of a mainstay in DC right now.
Yes.
But there is one particular moment, and I'm really surprised there's a lot of more people that's catching this. You kind of helped Tobey Maguire off those tracks. And you didn't give up the ghost. You didn't give up his identity neither. How was that being on the and mind you, for that particular trilogy, that was the biggest one. That was the most iconic, and still the most iconic scene. The show, period, or that movie, period. Being a part of that, how did that resonate with you?
Well, it was a little not confusing, but like hard to understand at first because I had auditioned for a regular part on the movie. Hey, busy. Was trying to be the dude who's in the elevator next to Peter Parker and says, "Hey, nice costume, guy." But I didn't get it. They gave that to Hal Sparks. But then 2 months later, out of nowhere, we got a call saying, "Hey, would Phil be interested in doing something different in the movie?" We're like, "What? What is it? We can't give you the script. We can't tell you. Just yes or no." Because, even though this was before the MCU, they were still very, very secretive about everything.
Yeah.
So
I remember the blurry behind the scenes photos That was the days of paparazzi. This is the best we
Right.
can get. Okay.
Right. So keep it secret. But for like an old comic book Blerd, a chance to be in a Spider-Man movie, like hell yeah. I'll do whatever. I don't know what it is, but I'll do it. Yeah. And it turned out to be something I had never heard of before or since in my Hollywood career. Sam Raimi, the director, felt like this big action fight scene between Spider-Man and Doc Ock, he wanted it to have heart for the movie. So he said, I can't just use a bunch of 45 extras. Hire me 8 real actors, and we're going to spread them out amongst the extras. And, so if I want to show the, emotional, feeling of this, I have somebody I can cut to, or if we want to throw in a line. So he hired a bunch of us to just be there to act, in the background of this action scene. And I'm like, oh, shoot, yeah, I'll do that.
Let's go.
Please.
Yeah.
But I was confused. Like, wow, I've never heard anybody doing that. Hiring extra actors, actor extras. And also, I ain't never seen like a bunch of people, getting paid barely anything, carrying a dude worth $20 million. I was like, oh damn, I figured they would bring like 6 stuntmen in there to actually carry Toby.
You're passing him. You're just like,
passing him
I
along.
feel right.
They're crying as they're passing along. This is $20 million.
Imagine getting $20 million and you just getting carried out.
Right? Although I did get to talk to Toby on set, and I was like, oh, and he told me something that has made me honor superhero stars a little more. He's like, oh man, this suit, yeah, when I get here in the morning, they basically glue me into it. And I was like, oh damn. Bro can't go to the bathroom till lunch break.
What in the world?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Considering the
Start
fact
at
that
4
we
a.m.
just,
and maybe 3 you're done. Maybe 3 you're
Man.
done.
considering the fact that we see Tiana Paris exude black girl magic when she puts on her she does her photon costume and she's doing her dance and everything, and then you find out she was sold into it. And I'm like,
Pass.
I'm good.
There's not a flap anywhere. You can't. Okay.
Yeah. Like when you're watching a hero, 50 feet high on screen, you don't think about how difficult that job could be.
I mean,
There's a level of it.
Michael Keaton did take a pair of Jordans and get them like black Jordans. So he's like, I'm not walking around in Batman boots all day. All day.
You can only imagine the prop guy. You want me to do what with these Jordans?
Right.
So I think, like I said, you're being a staple in just in that community, and it just leads you knowing that you're Blerd, obviously, and you're just like,
Would never have
ever
guessed in a million years.
right?
Never
Would you
have
yeah, like would you have ever thought like, man, yeah, you can sit back and say, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. I'm John Stewart. I'm Static. Shut your mouth. I saved Spider-Man. Please, I'm a Martian Manhunter. You can leave me alone and not say anything else.
Well, honestly, maybe it's because I'm a comic book nerd, but I don't consider the characters my ownership.
Here's
the same way.
Here's the secret. It's yours. It's yours.
Especially when you're the first one to do it. But growing up reading comics, it's not always the same writer or the same artist, but it is the same hero.
Yeah,
It's true.
But you do have a voice that is, some things are laden with the character. Like your voice, I can only imagine because from Samurai Jack, because I can only imagine for folks that aren't Blurs but watch the show, probably hear you talking and go, this look at you, but they hear the voice, they look at you, it's like, no. And then and probably you got approached like, I'm sorry, I don't mean to bother you, but are you the Samurai Jack guy? Are you so and so? I can only imagine folks come up to you and being like, I didn't picture, and it's I can only imagine it's so weird. They go, I didn't picture that voice coming out of you, and not to be not to be offensive. But it's like, and it's almost as if they can't imagine that someone of your talent and your immense longevity, if you will, and if they never can put two and two together, is it always surprising to see that happen, or is it just like you're kind of used to it now?
Well, I mean, it's wild that nowadays more people know what the person who does the voice of a cartoon character looks like. Because back in the old days, when I was a little kid growing up, there was like 7 dudes and 1 woman who did every character, we ever heard, and we didn't know what any of them looked like. Well, except for Mel Blanc, because he had done on-camera work too, but all the rest of them didn't.
And it was years later I saw what June Foray looked like. I was like, really?
Yeah.
That's
Right?
June? Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Exactly.
So, I wanted to ask you this because when Samurai Jack first came on the scene, this was a cartoon, this was a feature that a lot of us looked forward to because it was unique, it was different, it was special. And I know that you make appearances at conventions and people come up to you and say they love your portrayal of Samurai Jack and also of Jon Stewart. Did it ever really hit you the impact that you have had on these people with portraying these characters? Just regular folks who just living day in, day out lives, don't have the opportunity to do and see some of the things, but to come back and look on Cartoon Network and see the next episode of Samurai Jack, and for those 30 minutes, life doesn't matter.
Well, when people do, express that, for me, it is less about ego. It's like, yes, look what I did. Look how good I am. No, it's more about, good fortune. To be able just to guest on 2 episodes of a show that good is a blessing in your career. But to be able to be a good part of it, I mean, I didn't write it, I didn't draw it. I mean, for me as a voice actor, I am at most a third of the cartoon characters. Because it's not just the voice, it is how they animate it and the story that is being told, especially for something like Samurai Jack or Static Shock or Justice League. The fact that those things hold up 20 years later, like you said, you could play that for your kid, and it will impact this generation just as well as it impacted the previous generations, because it is that good. So when somebody talks about how great it made them feel or how it impacted them, that makes me feel lucky, because as a performer, like I was saying, when something's good, you don't know how successful something's going to be. You don't know if it's going to be iconic.
Right.
And getting to be a part of several things that are at that high a level of quality, that is such a blessing.
Yes.
I agree.
We are definitely not worthy. We are definitely not worthy. I would agree with that sentiment.
Yo, good Lord.
We're bowing, we just can't see the rest of it. It's like,
I'm just the captain of the ship and stuff I have.
I'm going back to the galley. I don't know about y'all.
So yeah, it's food back there. Nick's made sure to leave some of the ribs for the rest of us.
I got a special steak just for Phil back here. Y'all can't touch this steak. All the marbling and the herb. I basted it like a whole 15 minutes just for Phil.
Phil, don't blink because it'll be gone. Just don't blink, brother. That's all I
So shout out to Otaku Noir, who we're a proud affiliate of. He says being in countless shows and voicing so many different characters, what character would you like to voice if given the chance?
Oh, well, that goes back to that question you asked before. Well, anything that's already out there, I don't look at, some friend of mine's job and say, "Ooh, I'd like to take that from her."
Understood.
But I'm trying to think. For me, it's just about when the audition comes out, when the offer comes through. It's like, oh, what's this? Then you read about the premise of the show, and that's when you decide, ooh, this would be great to be a part of. I mean, for instance, I got the Moriarty thing back there.
Yeah.
Once I had the chance to audition to play Sherlock Holmes, even though that character had been iconic to me, that's when I thought, ooh, I'd love to have a chance to do that. But just random things don't occur to me,
Nice.
Why do I need to see that as a live action now?
Here we go.
No, seriously, I've seen several, because I love Sherlock Holmes. I've seen several versions. I've read all the books. It's kind of
Moriarty.
If we're gonna do a Sherlock Holmes with a black face, we're gonna have to wait till after Election Day.
Damn.
He's got a point.
Damn.
Flipping coins like who won?
I'd love to see like a Sherlock Holmes in the park.
The right one won. Green light the project. Okay, we ain't gonna worry about that.
Patrick Newman says, as a person of Jamaican descent and working as a bureaucrat, Hermes made him feel seen. That's the stuff I like to hear. I like
Hermes
to
was
hear
a G,
that.
though. Hermes was a G. I like
Yeah.
to say.
That I'm glad he said that, because there's a lot of those 80s 90s cartoons who the producers are getting called out for lack of diversity. But nowadays those creators on the same level now understand the value of that. Although some people put a value to it even before diversity and representation were buzzwords, like back when we did Justice League. The producers, creators behind Justice League decided to make this animated Justice League more diverse than the comic book Justice League, but not for avoiding cancellation or for political reasons, but for excellence. To have
it paid off.
To have 7 characters that are coming from more different perspectives and backgrounds, and not just have one woman, but 2, that will be more interesting storytelling. That's why they made, that African American the Green Lantern, not just a little backup Green Lantern like he had been since the 70s.
Yeah. Well, I remember Justice League coming out, and first thing they said John Stewart, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna like this. That's the first thing and then when I seen Dwayne McDuffie was involved, I'm like, oh, I'm really gonna like this, and I wasn't disappointed at all. It is one of those shows where you wish it could have kept going. It's still relevant today.
Yes.
Justice League Unlimited, and Static Shock are they are telling stories that are still very relevant today.
And doing that on kids' cartoons back then was rare.
Right.
That part.
Very
that
true.
part.
Very true.
Yeah, because in the old days, most people didn't consider cartoons art. They were just, programming for merchandising. We're just trying to sell the damn toys.
Yeah. We've seen that trend where a cartoon will come out, it's great, but because you couldn't get the toy licensing, it ended up getting canceled. And I said that's a shame, because you're taking away potentially good cartoons just for the sake of the dollar, and you're putting, pardon my French, absolute garbage out there because you can sell it as a game or as a toy or whatever.
That was English.
Yeah, Chris.
That was English.
Chris, did I tell you? Oh, that's funny, Nate, that you said that, because there's a story about that regarding Static Shock. Did I tell you that already, Chris?
No.
Oh, we get an exclusive story. Let's go. We get an exclusive story.
Before you tell that story, People out there in IG, Twitch, YouTube, wherever you're watching the show, understand that we somehow always get these great stories. Tune in. Phil, the floor is yours.
Okay. Well, and this is again another sign of the progress we've made. But back in the late 90s, when they were, pitching the Static Shock show based on the Milestone comic, not a DC comic. Well, if it's a cartoon, we got to get a toy. So they went to the toy company and brought the character designs and the premise and everything. And the toy company said, nah, we don't really see a market for a character like that.
That is the most consistent.
There's something I would say
goddamn
right about now,
accurate.
but I can't say it because we got company.
Right. But,
That is-
but we all know exactly what they meant.
Yeah.
And that was part of the
I
reason.
ain't part of bird's eye view. I'll say it. I ain't part of bird's eye view. I'll say it.
Yeah. Look,
But-
Niggs,
but-
I don't care.
But that decision to not have merch was one of the reasons that after 4 seasons of being the top-rated show on that on its Saturday morning network thing, Static Shock got canceled because it wasn't making them no extra money. Now, and so we were the top-rated show and had won a Humanitas Award for that episode about the kid in the high school with the gun.
Yes, I remember
this was
that.
high quality stuff, but like I said back then, they didn't care about quality in cartoons. It was just about Toys R Us.
Yeah, Chad didn't care.
Right.
Ridge and Thorn didn't care.
Yeah, seeing episodes like
merchandising.
seeing episodes like that, and the one with Richie's dad, you find out Richie's dad's a racist,
right?
Baby,
literally, I'm in the bed watching it, and I'm like, "Yo, we here? Okay, oh wow." And
right,
and I'm
the fact that somebody made that episode before the term woke even existed.
Yeah.
Facts.
And it's just the way they resolve things and bringing in Anansi, and I'm like, people don't know about these characters, and I'm here for it. And just seeing all this it's not inclusion, it's representation.
Pretty
seeing
much.
this representation and seeing this character really deal with issues, whether it's school, whether it's home, whether it's the bully, like seeing a character and having a positive influence with his father and the normal back and forth with his sister. You can tell is the back and forth, but they still love each other, of course. And just seeing that energy, and you're just like, I'm glad we have this.
Yeah. Well, that's what made the show so great, was the way they told those stories. I mean, because the show was about a black superhero, but it wasn't about the fact that he was black. Every episode wasn't black, but it was about this person's life in a real way. So he dealt with his racist, his friend's racist father, because that might be something that would happen to somebody like that. And the Static Goes to Africa episode.
Yeah.
I mean, because back then, that kind of story would have been considered a reference to the Shaft movie or the Richard Pryor bit.
Oh wow, yeah.
So those were real black things. And you feel like in a lot of networks back then would go but with Static Shock they got that done.
Yeah. Even at that age when I was watching it, I said, "Oh, we here now." And at the same time, when you hear people say, "Oh, they shouldn't do that," I'm like, "We just watched Spider-Man and Mary Jane threw herself out the window just to see if it was actually Peter." I'm like, "You want to talk about toxic right now?" So one's trying to solve an issue, another one is becoming one. So, so when you seeing those,
do you love me? What did they?
What does that even mean? So when I was seeing stuff like that, and even in the comics, and seeing that they have this family dynamic around Virgil,
Right.
And I'm saying we need to see more, and we're seeing that more, especially with a lot of Black indie artists, and we shout them out every show, and seeing that this isn't that, oh, he's growing up in a tough neighborhood. No, his father's a working man. His sister goes to school. He's smart. You know, so this is why when I see shows like Craig of the Creek, and I sit back and I'm just like, this is just fun because that was my childhood. Not that extreme, but that was my childhood. You know,
Close enough.
You know,
Close
going out.
Yeah.
Hey, mom, we're going out to play. We'll be back later in the day. You know, yeah, we fell in the mud and everything else, and there was always that creepy kid. You know, it was just it was always some level of stuff. So when I see stuff like that, and I'm like, this is just.
Our life was Ed, and Eddie. Okay, there weren't any adults around. From the time we left until the time we had to beat that street light. Okay, I'm telling you, you know. Okay.
I'm glad Lord Stryker says it because this was on my mind too. He said even Static meeting his future self in the Batman Beyond episode.
Right.
Yeah, that was wild.
Yeah,
that
was
still
wild.
Just good writing.
Well, had I not been in a recording booth with Billy West before that, I don't know if I could have done that episode. I'm gonna play 3 characters talking to themselves.
The level of talent, but see, it speaks to your talent. It speaks to your level of talent. You are obviously all over the con circuit.
Yes. With a lot of security.
A lot of security. A lot of security.
A lot of security.
Except for that day when you and me first met, and I was just like, "Wait, he's by himself? It's like 2 people in front." I'm getting this out of the way.
Take those moments when you can get them.
Oh, I'm getting this out of the way now. That walking, just being in the con space, and people of different generations recognizing you, either from Mad TV or recognizing you from any of the voice jobs you've done. And you speak with the passion because these characters, you know, they're you know, and we recognize these characters as you. We're just like, we wouldn't be, we read Static when it first came out, and we supported the books and we supported the cartoons. So we were just like, wow, they really did this time. And when you're in the con circuit and you see fans of different ages, and how does that make you feel when you recognize that?
I mean, being at the con is always so much fun. Because when you do this, you know, work on camera, on mic, there ain't no audience. You know, so, you know, and I started out, you know, in high school doing theater, and then you feel the energy of the people you're performing for. And that's what I love most about cons, is it allows me to feel the energy of the people I have performed for, you know, after the fact. It's basically like getting applause one person at a time, you know, just in dialogue. Right. And that is a wonderful thing. Yeah, it's a lot of fun, especially because, you know, I'm a nerd. And, you know, I always bring my sketchbook. And, you know, sometimes, usually if there ain't no line at my table, that's when I'm gonna jump out and head to Artist Alley and try to get some Batman drawings from, you know, amazing, you know, creators.
Oh my goodness, that just spoke to my spirit animal, because I go to San Diego every year. And I have friends that I've been blessed to meet over the years in Artist Alley. So I got my sketchbook. And I look to the left, to the right. Excuse me. Hi, how are you? Oh my gosh, I think your stuff is amazing. Can you get? I love it. I love it.
Although sometimes I get too nerded out.
Is there such thing?
Well, you know, to ask for something, you got to have a certain level of comfort. But when in your head you're just going. So
the fact that you are us at your level is just great.
So what I'm hearing from the crew is, if we can get Aman Vellani on, we might be nailing everything.
But like
Oh
when
my
I met,
goodness.
Neil Adams,
Oh yeah. I've had actually.
who was to me, because Batman was my biggest DC character, and to me, Neil's artwork and Kevin's voice are what helped make the character not just campy anymore, but the real Batman from 1939, that cool, powerful human hero. So when I met Neil, I was so excited, although I did try to make a connection. I went up to him and said, Mr. Adams, my name's Phil LaMarr. I really wanted to come and say hi to you because I wanted to say thank you because you created a character that wound up leading to me getting a job. So thank you. And then he told me stories about all of the hurdles they had to go through to get a black character into comic books back then. They fought him over the name. Like John Stewart. What, shouldn't you give him more something like Leroy Washington?
Oh boy.
They fought with him over the color of the skin. Neil, we think you put the wrong color in here. We usually make these characters sort of an off gray. It's like, no, he's brown.
Deal with it.
You hear those stories. I heard a lot of those stories, not just from Neil. I heard it from Don McGregor when he was doing Black Panther. And we hear those stories. Like he fought for the issues where he fought the KKK. They were like, "Oh, you can't do that," and he was just like, "Watch me," and the artist that he had that he was working with. So yeah, I've heard a lot of those stories. They're not well told stories, which is why read banned books, find the history yourself, because a lot of times they won't tell it to you. So it's something amazing.
Yeah, those stories don't get told often because back in those old days, since those people pushing against this creativity weren't using the N-word, that wasn't considered racism back then. It's like, well, if he's not,
or now,
yeah. Well, now that we have the term microaggression, we have a broader scale. And the fact that they were doing this to white people.
Yeah. They felt why does it have to be? I mean, even now we see it now. They're raving over Deadpool, but I'm like, well, She-Hulk did the same thing. What's the problem?
Exactly.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about? He's been doing it for so long. And she did it first.
Yeah. So what's the issue?
What's the problem?
BZ has a question. He says, does Phil have any future intention of producing his own content?
Oh, thank you, BZ. I'm glad you brought that up.
You hear that gasp? Inhale. I was like, oh, glad you brought that up. Oh,
here at Blerd's Eye View, anything can happen, and it's always the good stuff.
Well, because several times along this talk, I've said, no, I'm not the one responsible. I'm just a third of the character. But the truth of it is, there is an animated show that I am trying to develop as a writer, producer, and actor.
It's funny you say that.
Yes, there's a web comic called Goblins: Life Through Their Eyes, which is set in the D&D world, but telling the story from the perspective of low-level monsters.
Oh my gosh, I love this.
You know what? It's funny you say that because we are also the news core team for Blerd Station, which is a up and coming streaming service, and we have a lot of POC related content, and something like that. I'm going to get you in touch with Kevin. I'm going to get you in touch with Kevin. We're going to talk.
We might have a home. We might have a home if you feel comfortable.
I would love to be an associate producer on a show like that, but I'm with Blerd Station too, so I mean, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, hey, good to meet you.
Yeah, because we're all in certain. So here's the thing:
Did you get
we're the news core team. Myself and Kira run the voice directing department. And
wow.
So we're just building this thing, and we're getting people in and saying, hey, if you're a person of color and you have a dope comic, manga, animation, we want you. We don't need to be.
Yeah.
We don't need to be.
We're not gonna have that discussion again. That's for sure.
And the beautiful thing about it is the content that is yours stays yours. They just want to distribute it. They want
Right.
people to see it.
Right.
we need more of us out in that space.
Yes.
And not fighting for a sliver of something that we should have a much wider, I guess, swath of. It's not it's enough.
We shouldn't beg
Like,
for a
enough.
piece of our own pie. Put it that way.
We should have our own damn bakery.
Yeah.
That part.
I mean, we can cook. I'm just saying.
Ain't nothing wrong with a franchise. Ain't nothing wrong with a franchise at all.
I have a question though. Were you inspired to do the low level characters because of Brown Tooth on Critical Role?
No, that's funny. Because actually, the webcomic had already existed for several years before Critical Role, and it was just ironic that when I got to finally do a performance, because I'd known the Critical Role guys, from doing all our work on Avengers, Earth's Mightiest Heroes and stuff. We had done a lot of work together, but I wasn't part of their D&D group. But so when I finally got to do one of their performances, and it turned out to be a Goblins one. That was ironic because we were right around the corner, and actually Matthew Mercer is attached as one of the voices in our Goblins project, along with a lot of amazing people. Maurice LaMarche, Billy West, Deborah Wilson.
Ooh. I heard it from the Mandalore lady.
So here's the thing. We had Carl Jones on last year. He's good friends with us, and he was telling the stories, and the stories he told us about Deborah Wilson in the voice. And we're cracking up, but at the same time, we're just like, that fits. That fits. We've seen her, and we were just like, that works. Like,
hey, anybody who can do Oprah and Whitney Houston and whoever, tons of others can do cartoon characters and video game characters too.
Yeah.
That part.
She can. What's
Trey
Trey saying?
Mosley. I'm in the process of coordinating a VO conference retreat in Vegas for people of color. This is my open invitation to ask you to be our keynote speaker. We're in the infiltrate. The baby stages. They just the baby stages.
Face the lexicon properly, please.
Make a note of that.
Infantile. There it is. Okay. So
there you go. Got it.
Not to sound it out.
Why do I feel like I'm standing up in front of the Easter Sunday service right now? Like, you can do it, baby. You can do it, baby.
The word is Christian. Chrysanthemum? No, the word is Christian.
See, reading words off a page is not as easy as it looks, y'all. So, good luck on your voice acting. Yeah, Trey, reach out to my webpage, philamar.com, and I can get in touch with my representatives about getting that work, making that come together.
Look at that. Blerd's
Look what shooting your shot does for you.
Right? I have to ask this question because I know I've talked to Chris and I've talked to Lady Mandalore about this, and I want to ask this of you. When did you first realize that you were a comic nerd?
Like literally when in my life?
Yes.
Probably the summer I was probably 10. That I spent a summer visiting my cousins in Kansas City, and they all looked at me funny.
You say that's the napkin.
Why you all sitting in the corner reading? dude, we outside playing. But my aunt, supported me. She's like, no, Phil, I put a chair over in the corner for you. And I gave you some markers if you wanted to do some drawings.
Oh.
See, his is just mirrored my life. He literally, I was 9 when I discovered it. So yeah, I completely understand that. But
And aunties for the win.
Yeah,
Everywhere.
Right.
Max.
Matter of fact,
Always.
like I can attribute mine to 3 women in my life: my mother, my grandmother, and my great grandmother.
Same.
Aw.
And they when I say watching Zorro, Smokey and the Bandit, introduced me to Star Wars, Superman. And then by the time I was 11, being introduced to Black Panther, like they were just like, moral code is in his blood at this point.
Y'all know my Black Panther story, so we ain't gonna rehash that.
It's like we'll let him live. This one's okay. He'll be fine. But I appreciate seeing stuff like that. So that's really great.
Well, I got to ask this question just because from a video game standpoint, you voiced. We're not even gonna go down the list. Let's just say it's a lot. But the one that's always stuck out to me, which we were in Metal Gear, you actually played the character of Vamp.
Right.
Number one, I loved how you played him. You made me want to hate him. you made me want to hate the character, which is great. But how did you actually, because of a franchise like that, how did you come into that role as far as being Vamp and just coming up with that idea with just the voice, the mannerisms? Because I was just curious because I was like, Bill did this, and I'm like, that's impressive as hell. So I'm just asking you, just what was your perspective on that?
Well, actually, that was part fandom and part lucky. Because I played Metal Gear 1 and loved it. To me, back then, it was the most cinematic video game.
Yeah.
And, with that whole stealth thing, it was one of the few video games you couldn't win just by hitting a button, hitting a button, hitting a button, hitting a button. You actually had to think.
Right.
And, act out the story. So I was blown away by how great the game was. And then I heard, or maybe I think I was at a recording studio, and I saw a casting woman who I'd worked with on a bunch of Cartoon Network shows, and I said, "Hey, Chris, what you up to? What you doing?" It's like, "Oh, I'm casting the new Metal Gear 2," and I was like, "Oh, you're doing another Metal Gear?" I love that game. Could I come in and audition for something, please? It was one of the only times in my career I begged for an audition.
Okay.
And thankfully, she allowed me. Although originally I came in to just, audition for some little minor character, like I think it was DARPA chief or something.
DARPA chief.
Yeah.
And I was just going through the audition, and then halfway through, she goes, "Phil, actually, since you're here, there's this other character we need cast, but we've been having some trouble trying to find somebody who can get this role down." And then she describes Vamp to me. He's a character called Vamp, but he's may or may not actually be a vampire. And he's, some sort of, they think he was to be, Eastern European, but not any specific, country accent. And, and I think she even said something about his, not gender, but sexual orientation or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But basically, it was a lot of things about it was more about what the character isn't than what is. And I was like, all right. But what I decided to do was, well, let's say he is a vampire. Because if you're a vampire, you don't have to breathe. What would your voice sound like with no oxygen coming in and out of you?
Oh, okay.
And so I decided to do 5 today, or rather 6. And then I saw her, through the glass. I saw her go. I was like, ooh, I think I did it right.
Like I'm on to something.
I creeped the casting woman out.
but that right there is why I want to know, because I mean, between that and Vampire Masquerade Bloodlines, it's like your approach to almost the same in video game acting and same in video game voice acting as it is in animation. It's just that it seems you have a different approach to each character, how you do it, and that's why I was like, I just love to hear the thought process behind it.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's harder with the video games because they tend, because it's all digital, they don't have cells, and character designs and stuff to show you. It's like, no, that's all back at the office on the computers. And they don't give you the whole, like when you do a cartoon, it's a half-hour cartoon, they give you the script and you read it the night before. But a video game is 5 hours of, cutscenes. Ain't nobody handing you that script.
Yeah.
They just give you, 7 pages with all your lines and then all your death screams.
God.
So
Wow.
it's a little harder to embody it, to make it real, to figure out what the character is, what they're feeling, but that's what you got to do.
Right. Oh yeah, you definitely nailed it. That's why I was like, the first time I played, I was like, okay, loved it. Kind of went back a few years later, and this is after I've seen your voice acting roles, and I get back to vamping, and I'm like, and I had that moment like I talked about where I recognize the voice. I'm like, go back, look at the credits. Son of a bitch. and
I thought it was just me because I'm like, I know that voice. I know that voice. Now I gotta know. And my wife like, why are you reading the credits? Stop.
But it's so like I said, not to go into like I said, you have a long history of video game credits that I'll be here all night talking about them. But that one and Volgrim from Darksiders, those were my two favorite voices that you did in video games. And Volgrim, I don't know how you came up with that. That was the voice you pulled for Volgrim. It's like it's almost like it's like taking a mix between the snake from Jungle Book and putting Iago from Aladdin together and just making it seamless. And I'm like, that's impressive as hell.
Well, it's funny you say that, Black Spartan, because sometimes, in my head, I'll either draw a voice from a person in my life, who I feel is similar to this character, like in Futurama, there's a character Robot Preacher that is completely taken from an actual preacher friend of my minister, another aunt of mine who's a minister. She's hanging out with this preacher who was basically like a cartoon version of a preacher. He's a big round dude. He's like one circle for his body, one circle for his head. and really, Reverend JC, really? you trying to get higher? But I felt if they're gonna be a preacher, it should sound like a real preacher.
But Southern Baptist, right?
But sometimes you reach into the energy of another performer, Like I've told this story many times. Going into audition for Jon Stewart in Justice League, the person who auditioned right in front of me was Dennis Haysbert.
Oh,
wow!
And I was like,
wow, wait a
holy
minute.
shit!
Wow.
He looked like the human version of the cartoon character.
The president was in front of him, ladies and gentlemen.
Because Dennis is huge. I mean, if Dennis was wearing green, he would have looked like the live action version. But Dennis also has a really deep, powerful voice. And I was like, yeah, well, he looked like the character. The character should sound like him. So I went in and did my version of a Dennis Haysbert voice. And for Volgrim, there was something about the character. Looking at it, I thought, you know what? I'm lucky I got this. Because this seems like a role that Mark Hamill would kill. So I'm like, ooh, maybe would sound a little bit like Mark's Joker voice. So so I began to do something in that realm.
Yeah,
and they agreed. They said, okay, we like that for Vulgrim. Like,
wow.
Oh, I'm still tripping over the fact that
good thing Mark Hamill isn't behind me.
Right. I'm still tripping over the fact you had the president. You had the president in front of you.
Yeah, president in front. Yep. Like I said, he had the president.
When you said Dennis Haysbert, I'm like, yo, wait, what? So, before we get out of here, we're gonna do our sign up. I know it's hard.
Robert Nugent,
the ship only carries so much fuel. I can't do anything.
Fine, jettison me. I don't care. I've got memories. Just jettison me if you need to. I
have so many other questions. That's part of all the questions.
Go ahead, ask another question.
What's that? Sorry.
Okay. I was joking, but you know, if I can think of one,
Typical
Nick. Okay. Let me cook. All right,
bruh.
Okay, if I may, for a moment, if I can speak to Mr. Stewart for a second, as we all know, I'm a big hater of Guy Gardner. And you know,
well, Nix, who is not? Probably the only person who doesn't hate Guy Gardner is probably his hairdresser.
Yeah, so I'm a big hater of Guy Gardner. So I just want to know for you, who is your most favorite to least favorite lantern to work with?
Well, there are so many great lanterns. We are all part of the core. And, well, my comic book version had a relationship with a female lantern.
Ooh, yes.
Hello.
Not me. I'm having a baby with a Thanagarian. I would definitely say my favorite lantern to be with is my friend Kilowog.
That's my boy. Love Kilowog.
And I'm sure John likes him because of Kilowog's voice.
Yeah. Dennis Haysbert. Dennis Haysbert. Yep. He's like, oh, you got that one, but at least I still got it.
I got Stewart.
Come on, you poozer.
I win, but you lose, poozer.
No, we are the biggest, brightest, deepest lanterns. Me and Kilowog.
Oh, Phil. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back and sign off. Stay tuned.
What's happening? Hair longer, money ain't, so pay attention. Last couple seasons on the show have been very busy, and just to make navigating that easier for you all, I've taken it upon myself to go ahead and clean up the channel a little bit. However, if you are here for just a specific type of content, or you're new here and want to see what we're about, highly recommend our playlist section for you. If you want to see us react or review movies, trailers, video games, and whatnot, that's up there. I get it, not everybody can sit through a 2-hour podcast. So if you just want to see what the best or funniest bits were from each episode, that's going to be our highlights section. If you want to see some of the cool guests we've had on for interviews, up here. If you want to see some of the cool guests we've got to interview IRL, over here. Also, yes, please do all 3 of those. Now, if you'll excuse me, still looking for answers on that.
Wrap-up protocol initiated, Captain.
First off, let me thank Phil LaMarr for coming in and gracing us with his presence.
Thank y'all so much for having me.
This has been an amazing, amazing interview. Crowd. All right.
I still not paying you though.
Maybe in Cheez-It.
You are so cheap. Oh my gosh, you are so cheap.
You know how your mom used to get that variety pack of chips from Frito-Lay.
That part.
So
Chill.
I guess it's no
You
need to
had
say where
Frito
they
Lay?
can find. Yeah. That's on the good day. That was after payday.
Lord, here we go.
Here we go.
I had the Utz.
Not the Utz.
It's about to go
Hey,
sideways.
sleep on Utz now. Utz.
Hey, not gonna lie, Utz is good.
Nuts are hard. Yeah, don't sleep on them. They're hard. They'll stab you as you fall asleep.
But it's no question that people just know where to find you, Phil. Like, you are everywhere. You have spanned across generations. You are official here at the Pirate Crew. So you're welcome back anytime. I will get you in touch with Kevin. So thank you. Once again.
Thank you guys. And for anybody who's watching this, or for any of y'all who spread out around the country, if y'all go to LaMarr.com, it lists where the conventions that I'm traveling around to. So if it's somewhere near you, we can maybe see each other in person.
Nice.
Yeah.
Not just on screen.
You know what? We've called each other. Two of us has done it before.
Yeah.
We'll do it again.
Is it PhilLaMarr.com?
Yes. That's
I
Phil
think I'll
LaMarr.
hit that
2
up.
L's in the middle, 2 R's on the end.
I think I'll hit that up because I know this guy. He has a podcast too. He might want to talk to you.
Oh, okay. Great.
Speaking of said guy, we'll get to him now. Shameless plug.
Oh,
hey, Nick.
You know,
Geek. Here's the funny thing. Here's the funny thing. This is how I know. This is how we know Nick's is family, because I never got rid of the tag. I just I kept the tag. I'm like,
it is still there.
Hey,
that's funny.
First of all, shout out to Chris once again for having me. It's always a pleasure kicking it with you nerds. I love every single one of y'all. Shout out to Phil LaMarr. Man, talking to one of the GOATs, one of the greatest of all time, as far as yeah, absolutely. Greatest of all time. As far as the voice acting realm, it's been an absolute pleasure of mine. Stories that I'm gonna be able to tell my children and my grandchildren when they're like, yeah, I talked to Phil LaMarr one time. It was cool. But hey, maybe one day I'll talk to him, one-on-one. And if you want to know that's gonna happen, be sure to follow Do You Speak Geek. Keep in mind, Do You Speak Media is coming soon. DoYouSpeakGeekMedia.com is coming soon. It's a place for Do You Speak Geek. CW Podcast. That's a podcast that I have, as well as the Love Blerd content, myself and my wife. So keep an eye out for that. Much more to come from myself. Doc Noir, DYSG, for that little percentage off. Hit up BlerdStation.com. Please subscribe. We got more content coming on the way. Big stuff coming on the way.
Oh, yeah.
Woo.
If they only knew.
And also coming in August, there's a con that I'm actually a part of the planning committee on, AtlanticComicCon.com. So hit that up. Myself, Duran Flood, Greg Burnham. I'm not officially like one of the top guys, but I'm somewhere like right down here. So
why you lying?
It's close enough.
Right. Close enough.
Why you lying?
I'm in the room. So yeah, please be sure to hit up AtlanticComicCon.com for subscribe to the newsletter so you can stay close to what's going on there. And thank y'all for having me again. And Phil LaMarr, thank you again, sir, for indulging me in that last question. I really thought of it real quick.
Thank you, Nick.
So much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, always a brother when the cousins come through. Lady Mandalore, my second in command, she did not have to unholster her weapon one time tonight.
No, I was very. I was a diplomat amongst you all. Oh God, Mr. LaMarr, Phil, forever grateful for you blessing us with your presence. You are a busy man, so we do not take that lightly at all. Lord, Jesus. I am Lady Mandalore, also known as Room Full of Blerds, right there at the bottom. You can find me on these internets, on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. I also have my own podcast on Sundays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm currently in the middle of a comic book reading club run with X-Men Red. We are on issue 10 through 12 currently.
Yes, very dope, yes.
It is messy. Turncoat. I'd love for y'all to come in and read along with us. We've got 2 more weeks. We are focusing mostly on Storm, but this comic is a lot. Come through. That's it. Oh yeah, F the algorithm.
Our griot to horror lady from Geek by Heart.
What's up, y'all? Again, thank you, Mr. LaMarr, for coming on. You just made this geeky girl very happy just to be in the room. Hi, everybody. I am Lainey. I am Geek by Heart. I am one part of Geek by Heart. Me and my husband run Geek by Heart on YouTube. We do trailer reactions. We do movie reviews. We talk just about everything that we like to talk about. And we also are in the middle of playing video games. He's playing Gears of War. He's starting from the first Gears of War now. And I am still playing Hogwarts. I had to take off for about a while, but I hope to be back on actually tomorrow. So around 7:30. He's going to be playing on Fridays around 7:30, and I should be playing on Saturdays around 7:30. So check us out. We are a lot of fun. You can also see on TikTok and IG.
The way we came at Lady in the chat, she was like, "If you'll have me back," we were like, "Man,
yo tail on."
Like I said, I don't take nothing for granted, and I appreciate everything.
I couldn't find the "We Are Group" gift, but you knew what I was saying. I'm like, look, I had to use Dominic Toretto.
There's always room for family.
Talk to him, baby.
Oh man, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, blurs of all ages, good evening, good morning, good afternoon. Once again, it is your frosty bearded blurticorn here, Mr. LaMarr. Sir, I am most honored to have had this opportunity to speak with you. As someone who has been iconic in so many different things, you've been an influence. Thank you for just giving us a little bit of your time, because you are a busy man. And, you know, as we get up in age, guess what? We move more and more. It's like the younger folks don't understand that. But anyway, you can find me across social media with that name across everything. I just posted my Is It Okay to Be a Blerd on YouTube. So please go check that out. Thank you for the love. I've been hitting up on TikTok because I'm tired of these nasty influencers getting all the attention and the resources, and we need positive people to get that acclaim, to get those resources so we can continue to make something better. Blurticorn Speaks still doing our thing, and as always, I tell everybody, please support smaller creators. Let them know that you see them. Let them know that you support them. Stop giving these million-plus toxic people all of your attention, because at the end of the day, they need you more than you need them. Okay, so let's give it to the folks who put the heart behind their work. Stay nerdy, stay geeky, stay sexy. That is it.
There it is. The cinematic assassin will be watching.
Yes, it is. I will be watching the cinematic assassin. It don't matter what site you're on. You can find me at Mayhem. MAYEHEM Media. To Mr. Phil LaMarr, thank you so much for coming through. This was amazing. You are a GOAT. You're an icon. You are on the Mount Rushmore of voice acting.
That part.
Yeah, if you people on the interwebs want to holler at me, I talk movies and TV and comics and collectibles. Holler at your boy.
Don't do that.
I stay in
the humble place.
I'm not broke. I'm not broken yet.
Oh, also, thank you for explaining the whole Spider-Man 2 situation. Because this whole time, I thought they were just wild disrespectful. I was like, yo, y'all are in this random man on the train role. Like, that's Phil LaMarr. Why is nobody? Why did no one recognize that's Phil LaMarr? But got it. It was purposeful. I get it. Axes can be buried now. My whole life I was mad about that, but cool. It's with that note, I always stress mental health is important. So please take your meds, take your PTO, take a deep breath, and have an amazing day.
Spartan.
This man never keeps a straight face when we get to him. He never keeps a
Lord.
straight face.
First and foremost, to Miss LaMarr, I'm going to echo everybody's statements. Thank you for sharing a bit of your time with us. We highly appreciate it. We are very, very grateful and humbled by your stories, what you provide to us. Again, sir, thank you for your time. I can't stress that enough, that how much of an impact you've had not only on all of us, but everybody watching. And again, thank you. So Black Spartan, otherwise known as Blackbox447 on the socials, guys. You can pretty much find me there as I do reviews on everything, including gym stuff, because apparently I can scare people by lifting things. Of course, my shows, How the Frack We Got Here and Get Bit Podcast, can be found on the link at Blackbox447. Again, check out blerdseyeview.org for writing on wrestling, because wrestling is real and people are fake. Shout out to Mr. Kennedy for that one. Again, guys, we keep saying this all the time. Share, just don't like, share, tell people about it. Word of mouth is the greatest weapon we have against the algorithm. At the same time, share positive things. Share the people that are putting in the work, as Dave Montel also said. Share everything that is blerdy and nerdy, because there's so many people out there that just try to find a place to belong, and all we're doing is shining a light on them. Aside from that, guys, 3 simple rules I usually keep, but I'll keep it brief. Respect the cosplayer at all times, guys. And I'm gonna kind of dress up the number 2 rule a little bit. Be your best and show off your best, and therefore you will get the best. I'll keep it simple. That and number 3 rule is the same rule I have for myself as well as everybody else, guys. In the world right now that we're living in, simply put, be nice, be kind, don't be a dick, and we'll all be cool.
Lovely.
Love it.
Hello, everybody. It is your man on the wall, Chris Fury. Thank you to Phil LaMarr once again for stopping through, giving us some time. Thank you to this crew. One of the best dope crews I've ever had in my life. I'm glad we kept everybody entertained. We're glad we kept everybody educated, and I'm glad we kept everybody encouraged. And guess what? That is Blerd's Eye View's tagline. Look how I made that happen. Anyway,
show off.
You can catch us Tuesdays and Thursdays, 8 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Twitch, and IG live, 8 p.m. Eastern. You can also check us out everywhere you listen to your podcasts, including iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple, and Be on the Be On Air network. You can also watch us. You can also watch us on Roku, where always press record TV. Go to Roku, it's completely free. Alwayspressrecord.com. Go to APR TV. You'll patch all our past episodes. I think they have all the past 10 seasons so far. So, and like Tafari said, we're 290 hours away from monetization.
Nice.
Y'all know what to do.
On.
Right.
Run it.
You can do it.
Y'all know what to do. Talk to the people.
Chris.
Tell your aunt. Tell your friends.
Thank you all. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Phil, for coming through once again.
And thank you for the sweet bird flight on this wonderful blood night.
Let's go.
That wasn't planned. We never planned these things. We never planned these things.
Can I take that one?
The man with 1,000 voices. For real.
That part.
That. I'm gonna have to change the title of the show now. But we're out of here. Remember to educate yourself and others, entertain yourself and others, and most of all, encourage yourself and others. Thank you to Phil LaMarr once again. Thank you to this crew. Thank you to you out there watching us and listening to us. Leave a review, like, share, subscribe. All those numbers, get those numbers up. Watch it. Play it in the background. Pitch the ball off. Until then, we're out of here.